You thought 2026 was going to be normal? Better start thinking again. We've got Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio, the man, the myth, the person who single-handedly keeps the bucket hat industry in business, taking his first lead role in a movie called Puerto Rico. And no, it's not a rom-com where he plays a sensitive gardener who falls for a girl from the city. It's a historical drama, a period piece, with Viggo Mortensen, Edward Norton, Javier Bardem. Is anyone else smelling something? Because this lineup smells like aggressive levels of prestige. It smells like the Academy is already sweating. It also smells a little bit like a fever dream I had after eating a 3-day-old empanada. A quick pause. Welcome to Inside the Heist. If you're enjoying this video, please subscribe, as that will help us on our long way to YouTube monetization. Now, back to the video. Bad Bunny, the guy who made us all scream sing about Titi Me Pregunto, is now playing Jose Maldonado Roman, a legendary figure who led a gang of ex-convicts against colonialism. Talk about a glow-up or a setup. The director behind this madness is René Pérez Joglar, aka Residente. If you know anything about Residente, you know he doesn't do casual. He's the type of guy who writes a 10-minute diss track and makes you feel like you personally offended his ancestors. Residente posted on IG saying he wasn't looking for an actor, he was looking for someone who feels Puerto Rico. That's director speak for, I'm about to put this man through the absolute ringer. But here's where it gets suspicious. Why now? Why this specific story about a gang of ex-convicts? And why is every heavy hitter in Hollywood suddenly flocking to a directorial debut? Wait, before we get into the secret reason why this movie might actually be a glitch in the space-time continuum, do me a favor. If you want to stay ahead of the simulation, hit that subscribe button right now. We're uncovering the truth behind the media curtain, and you don't want to be the only one left in the dark when the credits roll. Let's look at the supporting cast. Viggo Mortensen, Aragorn himself. This man lived in the woods for Lord of the Rings. He doesn't show up unless the script is deep enough to drown in. Edward Norton, known for being, let's say, particular. He's the guy who rewrites scripts in his trailer because he thinks he's smarter than the writer, and usually is. Javier Bardem, the man who made a bowl cut terrifying in No Country for Old Men. So you have these three titans, and then you have Benito. It's like putting a very talented, very stylish golden retriever in a room with three ancient, grumpy wolves. But that's the play, isn't it? The suspicion is growing. Is Benito the lead because of his vibe, or is he the Trojan horse for a story Hollywood has been too scared to tell for 100 years? The movie is set in a time when Puerto Rico's history was being written in blood and controversy. Jose Maldonado Roman wasn't just some guy with a grudge. He was Águila Blanca, the White Eagle. He led a group of revolutionaries against the U.S. occupation. This isn't a feel-good movie. This is a burn-the-system-down movie. Residente says it's a reaffirmation of who we are. In Gen Z terms, it's about decolonizing the narrative. But here's the suspenseful part. Doing a movie about Puerto Rican independence while being one of the biggest commercial stars in the world is a massive flex. It's also dangerous. You're telling me the industry that loves safe content is funding a movie about an ex-convict rebellion? Something is definitely off. Think about the timing. We are seeing a shift. The Latino explosion of the 90s was all about crossover hits and being palatable. But Puerto Rico feels like the opposite. It feels like a middle finger wrapped in a velvet cinematic curtain. Is Benito being used to bait the masses into a history lesson they didn't ask for? Imagine millions of fans buying tickets expecting a reggaeton soundtrack, only to be met with the cold, hard reality of colonial struggle and Edward Norton looking disappointed in a 19th century suit. It's the ultimate bait and switch. And what about the title? Puerto Rico, the Americanized spelling used after the 1898 invasion. It's a choice, a deliberate, salty, sarcastic choice. It's the cinematic equivalent of using a mocking SpongeBob meme for a government document. But here is the real twist, the one no one is talking about. Everyone is focused on whether Benito can act. They're wondering if he can keep up with Bardem. But what if the movie isn't about the past at all? Look at the state of the world in 2026. Look at the protests, the economic shifts, the eat the rich energy. Residente isn't making a history documentary. He's making a mirror. The twist is that Benito isn't playing a character from the 1800s. He's playing a version of himself in a different timeline. The ex-convicts, they're not just characters. They represent the marginalized voices of today. The reason the English actors are there? To represent the very system that the movie is critiquing. It's not a movie, it's a manifesto disguised as a summer blockbuster. We've seen musicians try this before. Harry Styles did it, Beyoncé did it, but they usually play it safe. They choose roles that make them look pretty or heroic. Benito is choosing to play a man who was hunted by the law. He's choosing to be messy. He's choosing to work with a director who probably spends his weekends reading Marx and shouting at the ocean. The risk is astronomical. If he fails, he's just another celebrity vanity project. If he succeeds, he changes the blueprint for what a superstar is allowed to do. He goes from being a content creator to a culture shifter. The suspense is killing me because we won't know until that first trailer drops. Will we see Benito or will we see Águila Blanca? In a world full of AI-generated vibes and soulless sequels, Puerto Rico feels like a glitch. It feels too raw, too political, and too star-studded to be real. It's either going to be the greatest cinematic achievement of the decade, or it's going to be a beautiful, chaotic mess that we'll be talking about for the next 50 years. Either way, Benito has already won. He's got Viggo Mortensen in a movie about Puerto Rican revolution. That alone is a main character energy move that we have to respect. So, are you ready for the revolution, or are you just here for the popcorn? Because I have a feeling that when the lights go down in that theater, we're going to see a side of Benito that makes Un Verano Sin Titú look like a nursery rhyme. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the simulation, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll be tracking every leak, every trailer, and every suspicious IG post from Residente until this movie drops. Don't be the one who misses the twist. Subscribe now, stay suspicious, and I'll see you in the next one.